Good Shabbos, everyone, and I'd like to welcome everyone here at Orthophone, and also everyone at home that's joining us. So just a couple words of housekeeping, please. Except for those of us that are up here on the bima, when we're actually doing our prayers, we'd like to ask everyone to please keep their masks on and covering their nose and their mouths. With this latest surge, we'd like to just ensure that everyone stays safe and that we all follow our COT health and safety protocol. So let's see, what else? And I'd like to just give a special word of thanks to Leslie Moss, who prepared our Havurah service tonight, but unfortunately she was unable to be with us this evening, but she is sitting here with us in spirit and while she's out of town. But she did prepare this beautiful service for us, and we do hope that you'll all enjoy it. And so thank you, Leslie. So I wanted to be sure to get that in before we began. So anyways, so we'll begin our service with Hine Matov on page 10. So if you'll all open your prayer books to page 10. And, if you'll turn to page 3, go back a little bit, and we'll light the Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Please join me in the blessing over the candles. Thank you, Cindy, for helping me. And now, if you'll turn to page 5, and if those of you at home have your wine and like to join me in the Kiddush, please do so. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu borei peri hagafen. And we'll continue on page 6, and we'll read responsively at the bottom of the page, may the door. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. The Jewish holiday of Tu B'Shvat will start at sundown on Sunday. This holiday is also known as the birthday of the trees because ancient Jewish farmers would use this date to follow the Torah's instruction about harvesting young trees and offering their fruit to the priests. So with that, I will ask Pat to come up and share a poem.
Advice from a Tree by Elin Shamir. Dear friend, stand tall and proud. Sink your roots deeply into the earth. Reflect the light of a greater source. Think long term. Go out on a limb. Remember your place among all beings, living beings. Embrace with joy the changing seasons, for each yields its own abundance. The energy and birth of spring, the growth and contentment of summer, the wisdom to let go of leaves in the fall, the rest and quiet renewal of winter. Feel the wind and the sun and delight in their presence. Look up at the moon that shines down upon you and the mystery of the stars at night. Seek nourishment from the good things in life, simple pleasures, earth, fresh air, light. Be content with your natural beauty. Drink plenty of water. Let your limbs sway and dance in the breezes. Be flexible. Remember your roots. Enjoy the view.
And at the bottom of page 9, we offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And then we're going to go to page 16. Sing praise to Adonai with the lyre and melodious song. With trumpets and blast of the horn, raise a shout before Adonai, the ruler. Let the sea and all within its thunder, the world and its inhabitants. Let the rivers clap their hands, the mountains sing joyously together at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples with equity.
Yeah, turn to page, and Cindy will help.
Sorry, everybody. I've just learned to read. Okay, and now we're going to do Lecha Dodi. Okay.
Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nirkabela.
22, a psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in the courts of our God. In old age they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no wrong.
And now, this, and I invite you to join on page 24 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Nim Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Bohem l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Nim Melech, Hakadosh, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Hashalom, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Nim Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom,
This Prayer is a Tree by Alden Solovey. Could it be that a prayer is like a tree falling in the woods? No one needs to hear its thunderous crash for its nutrients to soak back into the earth, for its hollows to provide shelter, for it has become one with life itself. Let your prayers pour out upon the fertile ground of your heart. Let your prayers feed your aching soul. Could it be that your prayer is like a tree falling in the woods? No one needs to see it crack and tumble, for it is clear space for new growth, for it to open space, letting sunlight penetrate the deep, for it to become one with life itself.
We'll continue on page 26 with the, We'll continue on page 26 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Oh, we can, Yitkadav, Yitkadash Shmei Rabba, V'yamad Divrachute, V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayechon, Uv'yamechon, Uv'chaye de Kol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Ba'agala, Uv'izman Kariv, V'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olamo Me'omaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitraman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Dekudusha, Brichu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'ne'emata, Dami ran bialma, V'imru, Amen. And now, if you'll all rise, please, and we'll continue on page 28 with the call to worship and the Baruch Hu. Oh, thank you, Jean. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. And you may be seated. And now if you'll turn to page 30 for the Ma'ariv Aravim. And you can, and that'll be in the middle of the page, and please read along with me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into beginning, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzavot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And the following page 32, we'll read together Everlasting Love. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them. For they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
And now, if you would turn to page 34 and join me in the Watchword of Our Faith.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha bebetecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yodecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot betecha uvisherecha. And on the following page, the Ve'ahavta is in English. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. If you will turn to page 39. And join me at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. And then at the bottom of the page, let's read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth, the high heavens, responsibly, from bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Nice. Please turn to page 40. We will sing the first 3 lines, the Mi Chamocha. that are worshipped. Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? And then on page 43, let's read together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And if you would now rise and join in the Vishamru.
And now we're going to rise for the Amidah. The Amidah begins on page 46 and continues to page 61. This is our time and opportunity to communicate with God. You can read the text in Hebrew or in English, or say whatever is in your heart, and be seated when you've concluded your prayer. And you may face the ark. On page 62, my God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued. Save with your power and answer me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel and all who inhabit the earth. Amen.
So this week's Torah portion is Bishalach. When Pharaoh let Thank you, Kira. This week's Torah portion is Bishalach, when Pharaoh let the people go. This commentary comes from the URJ website. There's reference to trees, which provides a nice connection to the holiday of Tu B'Shvat. And it's a clearing in the wilderness of Egypt, in gratitude to American prophet Toni Morrison by Rabbi Hilly Haber. In her book, Beloved, Toni Morrison describes a scene of revelatory communal worship. In a clearing in the forest, protected by the trees, the broken-bodied and broken-hearted gather, each week to pray. Standing at the center of the gathering, their leader, Baby Suggs, calls out, "Let the children come," and tells them to let their mothers hear them laugh. At this moment, the forest rings with laughter as parents look on and smile. Next, Baby Suggs calls the men into the field to dance so that their wives and children can watch. Lastly, Baby Suggs calls the women into the circle to cry for the living and the dead. When the women finish, Baby Suggs tells them the only grace they could have was the grace they could imagine, that if they could not see it, they would not have it.
Protected by the trees, tucked away in the wilderness, Baby Suggs leads a group of oppressed and formerly enslaved people in prayer. The world outside of the clearing is harsh. These men and women and children are treated not as human beings, but as property, as subhuman. In the clearing, Baby Suggs creates a world in which the men, women, and children learn to endlessly love and embrace themselves and one another. She creates a place for people to witness one another, for parents to see their children laugh, children to watch their fathers dance, and mothers to recognize and acknowledge the pain of their world.
A theology of justice and dignity flows through this scene. In the clearing, baby Sug's task is no less than prophetic. She creates an alternative reality for her congregation, a place in which their bodies, minds, and spirits are infinitely beloved and imbued with humanity, a world in which laughter, dance, and tears flow freely. Like Moses leading the Israelite slaves out of Egypt toward a life of freedom and service, baby Suggs creates a moment in and out of time for her community to experience a different way of being in the world. In the clearing, broken hearts and bodies are healed, transformed by prophetic ritual and its infinite possibility.
In this week's Parsha, we watch as the Israelites leave Egypt and begin their long march to freedom. As they joyously cross through the parted shores of the sea, they sing and dance in praise of God, crying out, Zeh Eli, this is my God, the God I will exalt. Commenting on this verse, our sages wonder how the Israelites recognized God working in this moment. Probing this question, they imagine that when the Israelite children were born in Egypt, their mothers, fearing for the lives of their infants, brought them out into the very fields in which the Israelites labored and entrusted them to God. There, God would care for and nurture Israelite children, shielding them from the Egyptians until they were old enough to return to their mothers. It was these very children, the sages imagine, who recognized God as they crossed the sea and called out, Zeh Eli, this is my God, the God who cared for me in the fields of Egypt.
The God who redeemed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt is the same God who nursed Israelite children into adolescence, who showed them they were worthy of care and love despite the messages they received from the world around them. God opened a clearing in the fields of Egypt, and like baby Suggs, God birthed a theology of humanity and dignity into the world. It is our responsibility to continue the work of nurturing humanity and dignity in the world. Shabbat Shalom.
I'm going to ask you to turn to page 253 as we move towards our Mishaberach blessing. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless these members of our community. May Burns, Robin Cohen, Evelyn Gross, Diana Heller, Rob Hirsch, Barbara and Chip Kurtzman, Burl Levine, Kit Levine, Colleen Marguerite, Rick Moss, Dave Podolsky, Margaret Schmidt, Elliot Schwartz, Cheryl Schelleb, John Sitters, Ellen and Michael Weingarten. And I will give everyone here the opportunity. I'll look at you and please say whatever names you want us to take into our hearts.
Marcia Gams, Becky Gams, Sylvia Ramsell.
Let's see. Jim?
Stu Baker, Gary Cole, Martha Nybach, Sue Morris. Dina, Mike Bruner, Audrey Bruner, Steve Sills.
This is your time at home to add names. Pete Simmons, Nancy Norwood, Diane Kerner, Michael Olston. On page 253, we ask and send them all comfort and relief speedily in our days, and grant them a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit. Blessed are you, source of life, who helps us to bring light where there is darkness and healing where there is brokenness. Please join.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
And now, if you would please turn to 282 and rise for the Aleinu. Then we turn to page 284. Shehuno Are you prepared to know?
Good Shabbos, everyone, once again. And first, I'd like to thank Cindy and Kira for playing and doing our audio visual. So thank you very much, and thank you all for being here, and thank my Chavurah sisters for being here and doing this service, and Leslie, again, once again, for putting it together. It's a beautiful service, so thank you, Leslie. I can't do it birthdays yet, because Dawn's not in the room. She's out of the room, so I have to wait. So we have no anniversaries. So I'm going to go out of order, and I'm going to do the announcements first and tell you all what's going on. So our Social Action Book Club is going to have a Zoom book club discussion on the 24th at 12:30. And so if you're interested in that, go to our website or your email newsletter to get the link for that. I'm sorry, what's the book? The book, I saw it. It's
Cast by
Yeah.
Isabel Will.
Cast. Caste, Cast. Yeah. Wilkerson, yeah. So, and then the ongoing, it started on January 9th, but through the 23rd is the Slow JCC Film Festival, and it's awesome from the few films I've seen so far. And so I encourage you, if you'd like to see some good movies, and it goes all the way through January 23rd, and you can watch them as many times as you want. They stream 24/7, so you can watch it anytime you want and as many times as you want. So I would certainly encourage you to go to the Slow JCC website and look for the film festival link and get some tickets. An all-access pass is only $50, and it'll give you some good streaming for the next few days. So now I'd like to do birthdays. I had to wait, Dawn. So today is Rudstone's birthday, so happy birthday, Rud. And tomorrow, two of our twins turn 21. Drew and Hattie Daner turn 21 tomorrow. So happy birthday to Rud and to Drew and Hattie. And no anniversaries to announce. So those are our announcements. Does anybody have anything to add? No. Okie dokie. So with that, we'll continue on, and we'll go to page 289, please. And at the bottom of the page, the light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move into the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This Shabbat, we remember Gary Levine, son of Beryl Levine, Myron Levine, brother-in-law of Beryl Levine, Al Terrence, grandfather of Allison Herson, Barbara Roberts, cousin of Phyllis Karras, Kevin Kirby, nephew of Frida Russell, Mauro Gafreda, friend of Phyllis Karras, and Joel Kirshenstein. We also take into our hearts all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Frida, would you like to come up and light the memorial candle in memory of your nephew? And does anyone else have a yortzeit that's not on the list? Okay. And we'll continue on page 294 with the Kaddish Yatom when Frida goes back to her seat. And if you'll all please rise if you're able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach v'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'netemata, damiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. And you may be seated.
As we conclude tonight, we'll leave you with this poem, The Cure for It All, by Julia Fehrenbacher. Go gently today, don't hurry, or think about the next thing. Walk with the quiet trees. Can you believe how brave they are, how kind? Model your life after theirs. Blow kisses at yourself in the mirror, especially when you think you've messed up. Forgive yourself for not meeting your unreasonable expectations. You are human, not God. Don't be so arrogant. Praise fresh air, clean water, good dog, that's my Tim. Spin something from joy. Open a window, even if it's cold outside. Sit. Close your eyes. Breathe. Allow the river of it all to pulse through eyelashes, fingertips, and bare toes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe until you feel your bigness, until the sun rises in your veins. Breathe. Oops. Until you stop needing anything to be different. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for coming. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everybody.